Okay, so what I would like to talk about today is how to select a learning management system. And there's lots of different ways that this might be called: a learning management system, a student management system, a content management system. But basically, we're looking at where you're learning content so that students can access it, whether it's a course, a membership, a community, whatever it may be. Okay, so that's what we're looking at today. How do you select the right learning management system? And believe it or not, these are probably the two biggest questions that I get, usually with new people I'm connecting with or in the first meeting that I have with someone, is what LMS would I recommend? What's my favorite LMS? Or what LMS should you choose, or should I choose? They're the questions that I get a lot. And the answer is always the same. But before I tell you my answer, I want to ask you a question. So these questions are difficult to answer. And I want you to think about this question. If I was to ask you, what is the best client relationship management software? What would you answer? Let me know. Open up your microphones. Let me know. What is the best client relationship management software?
It's probably the most qualified to answer this. Does anyone else want to go first?
No, I used to use a platform called Zippy the Zippy courses, but kind of closed down. So I'll have to find a new one for my next course.
I would say it really depends. You cannot give anyone a diagnosis if you don't fully understand the problem to begin with, and every case is unique.
That's my response as well. Whenever I get one of these questions, my response is, it depends. Exactly those words. It depends on so many things. And Kim, you've mentioned that the CRM that you were using has closed down, and now you have to look for a new one. And so just what we're going to be doing now is exactly what you would do. Obviously, it's different. You're not looking for a learning management system, but you need to determine what's best for you. So we're going to be looking at how you can choose a learning management system, and you might be able to use this as well on how to choose a CRM. But I wanted to use that question here because we, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we're all familiar with the CRM. And so, like you would know, it really depends on what you need from the software. So choosing an LMS, I always say, choose a platform that meets your needs and your requirements, and also those of your learners, right? Those learners, you might call them students, whatever you call them, the people who are coming onto your platform to learn. You might have more than just learners. You might have referrals or people who advocate for you, which have just slipped my mind the name of that, but someone who refers you. You might have clients that come in that enroll their own students. It depends how your business is set up. So you think about every single person that will be accessing your platform. An affiliate, that's the word I'm looking for, whether it's an affiliate, whether it's a client, whether it's you as a teacher or a trainer, a course presenter, whether it's you as a business owner, two different things. If it's your learners, think about all of those people. So I've just written them down here on the list. Teachers, trainers, business owners, learner students. What is required from these different people from the platform? So these are some things to consider. For example, let's go back to a CRM. What would you need as a business owner from a CRM? What's one more important thing that you need from a CRM?
Reporting and analytics.
Reporting and analytics. And what type of reporting? What type of analytics?
Number of leads per month, number of sales outreach activities, understanding how long someone's been in the sales cycle for, things like that.
Is there anything else that you need from a CRM? Kim or Sim, what would you need from a CRM?
I'm going to say interactions, a record of interactions with the clients or the prospects.
Through meetings or even through your website, the interactions they've had with you, downloading documents. And Sim, what were you going to say?
Yeah, it's a similar thing, like, a centralized system where I can interact and I can do, all the activities. So something, which have centralized customer system, where I can integrate with many systems and do the operations, whatever I want to.
Exactly. And all of those that you've just mentioned are exactly the same things that we would look for, or that I look for in a learning management system. I'm looking for reporting. I want to see how my students are moving through the platform. They're reporting on particular quizzes, activities, where they're struggling in the course, for example, any of those types of reporting. I'm also looking for interactions. At what points are they interacting? How much of a video are they watching? Are they getting stuck at a particular point? Again, this is all under reporting, but it's interactions as well. I want to be able to have specific integration. If my business exists only within the learning management system, which are our systems such as Kajabi, where I can run my entire business through Kajabi, I can have all of my marketing, all of my client relationship management information, I can have all of my courses in there and run my business from there. But what if I already have all my platforms and I just need to attach something onto it, such as Thinkific, where Thinkific can then talk to other platforms? So what are those integrations that I need? So everything you mentioned there, the CRM, we know all of this, but when we go into something new, such as a learning management system, we think, what do I need to look for? But you already know all of that, right? We've just gone through that. So I do have a list of questions that I've come up with over the years. I just wanted to pull them up here for you, but these are things to ask yourself. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'll leave them here for you, and then I'll show you another example as well. But like we just looked at, we want to think about, what do you need as a teacher, as an instructor, as a trainer, whatever you call yourself, where you are delivering the courses? What do you need? Do you need to be able to have Zoom so that you can then do live sessions and that connects into your course? Do you need to be able to have access to student interactions? Do you need to have access to not blog posts, but to community forums? Do you need to be part of those community forums answering questions? Is that a live aspect, or do you want to be available for live Q&As? So think about, what do you need as a trainer, as a teacher, to be able to deliver these classes? I think we've got some questions here, such as, what types of lessons would you be adding? Are they going to be lessons that are pre-recorded, or they're live lessons? What type of learning journey are you creating, and what do you want that to look like? And so what I mean by the learning journey is, the learning journey is as soon as someone signs up for your course, they find your page all the way through to completion. What does that look like? Even after completion, when they go into your system, how easy is it to access your system? Where do you want them to click? How do you want that menu to look? All of this is part of selecting the right learning management system. Then think about, as well as a business owner, right? Because most of the time when we are creating content as a business owner, but we're also the instructor. So what do you need from it? How much is your budget, for example? Can you afford Kajabi in your budget, which is around $199 per month? Or would you prefer something like Thinkific, which is $39 per month? And what is your budget within your bigger scheme as well? Because we all have different platforms that we're paying for. Think about, as a business owner, what reports do you need? How does this fit into your bigger marketing plan? If you're going to have an online course, where does it fit? Is it one of your smaller offers, or is it one of your bigger offers? And how does that fit into your current systems? There's lots more questions that you can think as a business owner. And then you have your students. What do they need from the system? Do you need them to be able to ask questions? Do you need them to have access to you? Do you want them to be able to book in a session with you? Think of all of these things that you want. We've also got some questions like this. How would they purchase the course? Do they purchase the course by itself? Do they purchase it in a bundle with other courses? Is there a free option for the course that then they can go through it, test it, and then purchase it? Are there discounts for a specific period of time? So this is kind of mixing with the student and the business owner. Is there a specific funnel that they would go through that you need to have set up, such as soon as they enter the system or enter the funnel, they have a specific discount for 3 days and then a different discount for 5 days after that, for example. So all of these you need to think about so that you can manage it in your platform. And we have some more questions, which I'm going to show you as well. This is here from one of the books that you can download, or one of the workbooks that I have that you can download. And this just goes through some things that I've discussed. Budgets, live streams. Do you have to embed pre-recorded videos? I'll send you this specific file afterwards as well. Are you using SCORM? Do you need reporting to be done? Do you want gamification to be done? We look at integrations as well. Do I want to use Zapier? Do I want to use specific funnels? For example, I can use Thinkific with Zapier to push them into my Zoho CRM, because I had an existing business before I built my online courses. So think about all of these different types of activities, automatic emails, and think about it from those three perspectives that we looked at. If I just jump back here, from these three different perspectives, what does everyone need? And then that will help you to select the right platform, because what you are then doing is creating a checklist of requirements. I just want to show you the last thing before we open up for questions. This here is how I would organize all of my questions. So this is called the transition puzzle, but really it's your MVP, your minimum viable product. So I've said, okay, what do I want my students to do? What do I want to do as a business owner? What do I want to do as an instructor? And I've broken them down into what types of lessons do I need? What type of learning journey am I looking for? Do I want it to be mobile accessible? Do I want students to receive particular reminders? When do I want surveys and feedback to be in there? How will they see progress? The trainer, what does a trainer need to do? And all of this is under technology. What's my budget? Do I want them particular assessments to be available? And what do those assessments look like, right? We can have some that are pure, some learning management platforms only allow you to have quizzes. Some other ones have more advanced assessment types. Like Asim said, integrations. What type of integrations do I want? Do I want to be looking at Mixpanel? Do I need Zapier? Do I need MailChimp? What type of integrations into different CRMs? Again, we're here with types of activities. The difference between lessons and activities, for me, a lesson is when people are absorbing information, and an activity is when they're applying that knowledge. Okay, so they're doing some type of activity. And do I want them to be able to download resources? And something really important as well is, how can I protect my intellectual property? Do I want to ensure that videos cannot be downloaded? Do I want to ensure that I have watermarks on everything? So if it is downloaded, it's still got my name on it. So all of these are what we can think of, and it creates this checklist, which is your minimum viable product, which then helps you to choose your platform. And what I finally do from this, before I turn it into a checklist, is I then do say, what are my must-haves and what are my like-to-haves? Because let's face it, there's no perfect platform out there for us that's going to have everything on our checklist. But at least if we then say what's our must-haves, we can then ensure that the most important features are available on our platform of choice. So very quickly, a summary: to be able to choose your learning management system, it depends, and you have to do a thorough analysis of what these different parties will need from your platform. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to you to see if you have any questions that you would like to explore today.
Yeah, thought-provoking. A lot of questions.
Yeah,
Helps if you're not on mute. Sorry. So I've been doing a little bit with Trainer Central lately, which does also hook into Zoho. And I've gone down the rabbit hole more from a community perspective, but when going on, I've done some stuff with LMS. So I used a WordPress with Buddy Boss, and then I found that that was super flexible, but a lot of mucking around. And then there was issues with emails making it into the inbox, because during COVID, everybody was using WordPress to spam inboxes. So then they got shut down. Then you've got to plug in SMTP to go. Then you've got to do all these workarounds basically to get the thing working. I definitely see the value in something like a Thinkific or a Teachable or that, other than saying the usual, do you have a favorite? What's the deciding factor between like an enterprise platform or a point solution small business platform?
Good question. I think the deciding factors, from my experience working with clients, is their current position in the market in regards to, when I'm working with a new client who's creating their first course, they've never explored this territory, they're not familiar with marketing, they don't have a list of students ready to purchase, we usually would go more towards a Thinkific, a Teachable, something that's low cost, easy to set up, and we can push it out to the community within a couple of months. With the enterprise platforms, that would usually be with larger businesses. So working in Australia with registered training organizations, we will be using enterprise platforms, or they already have a student management system, which they have to have anyway. It's a legal requirement in Australia. And sometimes they do have learning management systems included, sometimes they don't. So if they don't, that's usually when we will use an enterprise platform or one of the larger platforms such as WordPress, and that's because they already have their students who are enrolled, and they're usually moving from a face-to-face session to an online course or to e-learning. So there's nothing to change in regards to marketing or that flow of students. They've already got that working. It's now just the technology that they're changing. So that's usually what's a deciding factor, is if they jump in and they spend all this money and time investing and building this learning management system, what's that return on investment and that over time? And usually that's what will help us decide what platform to use amongst all the things that we just went through. But that's one of the topics as well, is looking at that budget and looking at the time that someone can invest.
Yeah. Have you heard, I guess you would have heard of the Maven system or platform?
And I haven't heard of Maven.
Yeah.
No.
I had a look at it last year. That's why I asked. It had a,
I know that in my space on CRM, there's been like a mass explosion in the number of products in the market, particularly now that you can do coding with AI, that or like everybody's can rip it off or build it in a low code builder and call it their own. So I would imagine that there's 20,000 products on the market. What about say for example, what sort of system would you imagine a franchise business?
So a franchise business is when I think of franchise, I think of like a chain of businesses, but they have to share the platform between them, or each one can choose their own.
Usually, like I guess it makes no difference because the trainers would then assign the learning to the individual. The individual would complete it, they get a certificate. I just know that any other system has a lot of complexity because you've got multi-tiered and layered. But I guess maybe you could tier it and layer it if you had, like, let's just say you had multiple stores of a company, and then you would say each store then has to meet certain criteria of training their staff, but then you could have reports at that level so they can't see everything else, but then you'd have reports at the parent level. Is that something like that exists, or you have to custom?
Yeah, something like that does exist. And I'm just going to go back to my very first slide here when I introduced what an LMS was. And I said at the start of our conversation that you can have a content management system, a learning management system, or a student management system. And all of them allow learners to be able to access content, but the strength of those systems changes. So I'm going to call something like Thinkific, Teachable, Podia, a content management system. Students can access your course. You can have reporting. All of them have reporting, but somewhat limited reporting. Some of them, like Thinkific, will allow you to have clients that can come in and can enroll students. So you can have different franchises enrolling the students, but they're not as robust as what a learning management system or a student management system will be. I would then call a learning management system things like Moodle, Canvas, WordPress, well, not WordPress itself, but the plugins that they have for WordPress, such as LearnDash. Those will be LMSs, which are learning management systems, and they are more robust in the type of integrations that you can do, the type of learning activities and lessons that you can have in them. Like we looked at before, that I said that some platforms have more robust assessment types. These learning management systems have huge assessment types, such as Moodle allows you to use H5 to be able to build drag and drop hotspot activities. All of those learning management systems as well allow you to have SCORM activities where you're building very personalized training and then can integrate them. And then your final one is a student management system. And that is what I mentioned, that registered training organizations in Australia need them for robust reporting so that they can report back to the government on government funding, et cetera, et cetera. So the student management system doesn't always have LMSs, but over the past several years, when e-learning has boomed, some platforms have created learning management systems within them, or they are able to integrate with huge learning management systems such as Moodle or LearnDash and WordPress. So back to your question, I would choose a learning management system or a student management system, but usually between an LMS is what I would choose for these franchise companies, such as LearnDash, that's in WordPress, very customizable. Moodle, extremely customizable. And I would choose them over a content management system that don't have those same level of customization, nor do they have robust reporting or robust, what would you call it, like clients being able to log in, like the different tiers that you explained.
Yeah, access control levels. Yeah,
exactly.
Excellent.
And one issue I found, because I'm also looking for learning management system, and I talked to a couple of sales reps as well. I don't know how well equipped they are with their products. Is they're trying to get broader market into their product. So for me, you need to have one use case. So let's suppose a solopreneur wants to teach, and then just create what you have done through this mind map. What exact things I need. Probably I don't need everything. There are some critical, which you said the must have, some should have, and then create a system rather than what I'm seeing. They're trying to do everything and they become very mediocre. That they have, we have landing pages, but it's so ugly you cannot literally utilize it. but then you have very good, content management system, which is, you can create the courses. But then I'm saying, okay, if I'm using your system, I'm not gonna have an ugly landing page. And then you cannot integrate with other things because no, WordPress is our competitor. And the reason is because we have the landing pages. And I'm saying, okay, I'm stuck. So I think many people, they are taking very generalized kind of thing, a broader market segment, and trying to build. I don't know the problem. In my opinion, the problem is a techie mindset, which focused on mostly on the product rather than the customers. But I don't know what's your take on this?
Yeah, it's a very good point that you've raised. I think that going back to the content management systems that we spoke about, so that's Thinkific, Podia, Teachable, Kajabi, these types of systems, the competition is very fierce, especially within the last couple of years. So they are trying to get a broader market. And like you've just explained, I've witnessed as well, where rather than focusing on one particular clientele or client persona, rather than focus on an entrepreneur, for example, they're trying to focus on more people to have a broader market. And rather than just focusing on that one and having really great features, they're focusing on multiple, and then that quality of the features come down as they're trying to do too much. What I've done a lot with Thinkific, for example, is that Thinkific has a robust client or learning, what would you call it? Learning page. So when a student comes in, the student portal. They have a really nice, clean student portal. It's not the best in regards to customization, but it's nice and clean, easy to move through, easy for the student. The student doesn't have to scroll up and down. It doesn't get confusing. But their website pages are not very customized. They're not that pretty. But with a lot of our clients I work with, they already have websites. So it's not a must-have. The most important thing is that learner portal, what learner sees and how they move through that, and then we integrate it to our website. So you are right that not all the features are the best features, and trying to hit a broader market decreases the quality. And I think within that, you have to see, well, what's the most important features that you need, and do they meet your quality standards so that you can then use it within your business?
Excellent. All right, I might stop the recording there.